If there's no emergency funding this year, there will be 1 out of 3 farmers will file bankruptcy.
Arkansas farmers are crying bankruptcy, begging the government for bailouts. And you know what? They voted for this. Trump's tariffs, Trump's inflation, Trump's big beautiful bill that doesn't pay a damn dime until 2026. That's not bad luck. That's FAFOF around and find out. 70% of farmers still say they believe in the tariffs that are crushing them. That's like cheering for the guy who just repoed your tractor. Loyalty this blind isn't just expensive, it's generational suicide. Look, I don't celebrate people losing farms, but actions have consequences. Arkansas voted overwhelmingly for Trump, and now they're learning the hard way that racism, culture wars, and blind loyalty don't put food on the table. They cost you everything.
Oh, good evening to you. We begin tonight with hundreds of struggling Arkansas farmers pleading for emergency federal funding amid a farm economy crisis.
Channel 7's Andrew Mobley attended a meeting between farmers and federal officials earlier today in Brookland in northeast Arkansas and has more tonight. Andrew.
Almost everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year. And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations. A dismal global market and plunging commodity prices mean there's little to no hope of breaking even for many farmers, even as sky-high input costs rise because of inflation and now tariffs. Not to mention bad weather earlier in the year.
This time last year, the rice price was about 40% higher than it is now. The inputs costs have gone up, so after a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Though President Trump's big beautiful bill provided a much needed update to safety net subsidies for farmers, they won't see those federal dollars until late next year, by which time some have projected that as many as 1/4 or even 1/3 of Arkansas farmers will face bankruptcy or be forced to leave the business amid the crisis the American ag economy is currently in. It's already taken its toll this year.
I'm a sixth-generation farmer from Newport, and we made the decision to go out this year. In the spring. So my son will not be the 7th generation on our farm.
5 of my customers have committed suicide. That's how serious that this is.
Today, Arkansas farmers gathered to share their struggles with staffers from the state's congressional delegation, pleading for Arkansas lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the governor to convince President Trump to provide emergency funding to help them make it to next year.
We have to have ad hoc payments right now to make it through this year.
If there's no emergency funding this year, there will be 1 out of 3 farmers will file bankruptcy.
Their cries for help did not appear to fall on deaf ears.
We're going to take your message, we're going to get it back to D.C., we're going to do everything we can to get you the help you need.
Until the federal government steps in to save them, farmers have no one to turn to but God.
Farmers, in my opinion, dear Lord, and it's only my opinion, are closer to Thee than anyone else on this earth because we deal with your earth every day. Dear Lord, we're hurting, dear Lord. We can't help what's happened to us.
It's hard not to be moved by the cries of the people who put food on your table. On your side, I'm Andrew Mobley.
Drew, thanks so much. And in a joint statement, Senators John Bozeman and Tom Cotton, along with Congressman Rick Crawford, write that they are happy to continue to hear from farmers around northeast Arkansas and promise that relief is coming. They also say, we are proud to have delivered multiple forms of key support and assistance that combined total over $80 billion since last December. These reforms and investments, once implemented, will help address economic challenges and natural disasters to preserve family farms.
So I saw that the soybean farmers in the state of Arkansas are having a find out phase. And you know what I hate to say? I told you so. No, seriously, I'm really sick and tired of the fact that the left keeps having to say, I told you so. Because we didn't want anybody to suffer, okay? We voted for everybody to survive and thrive. And you voted for the suffering of other people, and here we are. You are actually the one who is paying the price and suffering. Because you can't sell your soybeans to China because what's that? Tariffs. You can't get that new farming equipment that you needed because of why? Tariffs. Didn't the experts tell you that? Didn't people warn you this would happen? But no, you let your internalized hate, racism, and misogyny override literal facts that were right there in front of your face that made you vote against your own best interests. And here you are, expecting a government bailout yet again. You didn't want anybody else to get government bailouts. That's socialism, and you don't like that. So what makes you so different and so deserving when you voted against government money going to anybody who has stumbled upon a hard time? Why do you get it? What makes you better than other people? Again, I don't like that we are having to say, I told you so. Okay, I wanted you to do well. I wanted you to survive and thrive. But this is what you voted for.
Arkansas farmers are not having it. What's really happening is so much diabolical because everything is just changing in front of everyone. Today we are seeing Arkansas farmers holding a meeting and trying to pray to God to help them because the person that they put all their hopes in, that Mr. Donald Trump, has really failed them. They can't sell their soybeans to China because of tariffs, and this is affecting them, right? Trump has destroyed all these farmers. And it is diabolical because now all these Arkansas farmers are asking for handouts, from having your own whites-only town to now asking for handouts. Really, remember when I told you that coming with your own community really requires a strategy and you cannot do without any other group. Right now, you're coming to the public to ask for handouts. But remember, people warned you about all this, that these were things that were yet to happen, but you took it for granted because you thought that it's not going to be catching with you. Right now you can't sell your crops because of the tariffs, and it's going to get crazy. And now you're turning to God, you're having meetings, and you are coming out and saying that you never thought that this will happen to you. You never thought that things will change to you. And it's okay because you going and asking for God, at least you now understand that God is the sovereign help, is the sovereign person to run to when you have help. But it begins with you making the right decisions as a human being. You can't keep on messing and going to God and asking God for help. Remember, right now the world is watching you. And I think they are all confessing that they never thought that something that is happening like this, they ever planned it to happen to them. And it's true, because for them, when they voted against all these things that will benefit everyone. But it came across them. They voted for tariffs. They voted for border control. They voted for mass immigration, and all these things are affecting them negatively. Arkansas farmers, I'm not really sorry for you, but I think I'll spare some empathy because I understand what you're going through, but this is something that you could have prevented easily. How many times will people tell you that you are making the wrong decisions, but because of hate, because of racism that you have towards other people, and thinking that you deserve all that other group of people don't deserve, you think that they are not required to go to these places. And so to me, this is just a wake-up stage that you are working. This is a find-out stage that you are in. And so I invite you all to watch this video. I really don't know what you feel about this. And I know majority of you guys are tired of seeing these people coming out and complaining about all these things. I know you are tired. But again, we need to keep you informed because all these things is happening and it's happening in real time, and that's why we need to inform you about this all. So brothers and sisters, for those who are watching me for the first time, I'm just asking you to please subscribe to the channel, join the membership, and really get to what I can offer you. For those who are always coming back and supporting my channel, man, I'm really, really grateful. For those who are supporting me through my Cash App, those who are supporting me through sharing, liking the video, I'm really, really grateful. If you wish to buy me a coffee, you can buy me a coffee through my Cash App account, through my Super Thanks. I'll be really, really grateful for the support that you're giving me. But until then, I'll just watch this video. I'll be back and then I'll be sharing my thoughts in regards to this. So let's watch the video. I'll be back.
So let me get this straight. The farmers of Arkansas are asking the federal government for handouts, for checks, because they are struggling financially because of the tariffs and other policies of Donald Trump. They can't sell their soybeans and other goods into foreign countries like China because of the tariffs. They're now too expensive for them to be able to sell them into China because of the retaliatory tariffs. And they can't afford equipment. They can't afford the high rising prices of equipment because of other tariffs on goods and manufacturing and raw material and everything like that. And they are saying they have never seen it this bad. There was a farmer who's in his 39th season of farming, and he says he has never seen it this bad. He literally said, Donald Trump, you said you love us, but I'm not seeing the fruits of your love. What the fuck? Arkansas farmers, and they're saying, of course, it's affecting everywhere else. We saw Nebraska was having problems, facing bankruptcy. Farmers across this country are facing a huge pinch, and a lot of it has to do with Donald Trump and his policies. Well, you should have thought about that, Farmers for Trump, when you went into the voting booth and places like Arkansas, Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska went ruby ass red in 2024 in November. You guys made your bed, you fucked around, and now you're finding out. So yeah, the fruits of Donald Trump's love are rotten pieces of shit. If you didn't know that going in, you know it now. So as your farm continues to struggle and you're looking for a socialist handout, why don't you try pulling yourself up by your bootstraps that you preach to everybody else about and do something about it? Because frankly, the rest of the country doesn't give a damn anymore. You should have thought about that before you sold the rest of us down the river.
So it looks like Arkansas farmers are in the find out phase of the fuck around and find out part.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Because farmers from all over the state of Arkansas came together to have a town hall meeting with some representatives from the government, explaining their struggles and what they might need to help them. And just as a friendly reminder, during the 2024 election, the state of Arkansas went 64.2% towards President Orange Man. But let's continue with the rest of this clip because it seems like one farmer might be having a realization as to what may be causing all of these issues.
For Brown, there's something that rounds out all the issues that they are facing: the tariffs.
I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm. When you try to sell a product, okay, U.S. soybeans leaving New Orleans without the tariff to China are cheaper than Brazilian soybeans at the current market. But when you put the tariff on top of them, Brazilian beans are cheaper.
Now, I'm actually glad he's making the correlation that it has something to do with the tariffs. But I've noticed a pattern when it comes to some of these people, when it comes to the tariffs, that they never make the connection or blame towards the person that actually caused these tariffs. And I'm gonna give him a major hint that it has to do with the person that won 64.2% of the vote in that state during the 2024 election. And this Arkansas farmer seems like he has a solution for this problem.
So, how can this be fixed?
In the short term, they have no choice but to mail us a check. I don't know a farmer that likes the check program. Nobody wants to take taxpayer dollars, but nobody wants to go broke.
Yep, you heard that right. He's asking for a government handout, which is socialism, which he says he doesn't like them, but during these past years, there have been lots of subsidies and checks going out for farmers, including bailouts that happened during President Orange Man's first term. Because during his first term, financial aid to farmers was about $28 billion, costing more than Navy shipbuilding, the nuclear forces, NASA, and even children's health insurance. So yeah, you guys do love to receive bailouts and handouts. All the while, you guys tell other people who need financial aid, such as single mothers with kids who need food stamps, that they should pull themselves up by the bootstraps, but for some reason you guys don't like doing it yourselves. And this is just another episode in the saga of Fuck Around and Find Out. I don't even know what episode number we're on, but yeah.
It's Joe from Georgia. So another state is in the news about collapsing their farming industry. And it's the great state of Arkansas. They held meetings in Arkansas this week with the farmers because of the dire situations that they are in. Because, folks, they're not being able to sell their products. They have money in the ground, but they can't get any money out because the United States government, which had guaranteed them certain things, were lost in the big, beautiful bill. Well, in these meetings, it has been said that if an emergency bailout, which is what the farmers are asking for, folks, they're asking for a bailout in Arkansas. that 1/3 of them will file bankruptcy. Hundreds of millions of dollars going into bankruptcy. So you're going to have these people who generational wealth will be totally wiped off the map in the state of Arkansas. But here we go again, another state that overwhelmingly supported the president in his race. And believe it or not, there are still 70% of those farmers will say they believe in the tariffs that are putting them into bankruptcy. Folks, when those type of things are happening in your life, you've got to ask yourself, would I have thought this way 10 years ago? And I'm going to say pretty easy, the answer is no. You're not going to worship the thing that's bankrupting you.
Good morning. What do they say? Racism is expensive.
5 or 30% of the farmers in this country, if they don't do something, it has to be done, and it's not just here, it's everywhere.
Farmers are making a cry for help before it's too late. Countless farmers gathered to speak to representatives of Arkansas leaders to share the urgency that something needs to be done about the current state of farming. Jake Tester was at the meeting and now joins us in the studio with more. Jake.
Many farmers spoke up at the meeting, and the message was straightforward. They need help, and they need it now.
Mr. Trump looked at me, sir, and he said, I love you. Mr. Trump, I need to see the fruit of your love.
Farmers in crisis align way out the door of the Woods Chapel Baptist Church in Brooklyn as hundreds of farmers from not only Northeast Arkansas, but from across the state came to voice their concerns about the current state of farming. Representatives from U.S. Congressman Rick Crawford, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, and U.S. Senator John Boozman's offices were in attendance to hear those concerns. Among those farmers in attendance was a farmer in Woodruff County, Chris King. He told me this was his 39th harvest, and he has never seen it as bad as this.
And I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
For King, the main problem starts with the fact that they can't sell for profit.
I just would like to see somebody help us get our markets back. We need our exports, and we just need to be paid for what we do. And that's not happening. And we're in real trouble.
But that is not the only issue. King's wife, Melissa King, and farmer in Biggers, Arkansas, Scott Brown, said they are struggling to afford the cost that is needed just to take care of the farm.
The prices that we're getting now are prices like they were when we were children, and what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now. I mean, the price of a combine when we were kids was, in the 20,000s, and now it's 100,000.
I farm 800 acres by myself. I can't afford any help. I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. How's the guys farming 5 and 10,000 with 20 hands and $1 million combines and $1 million drills going to make it work?
But for Brown, there is something that rounds out all the issues that they are facing: the tariffs.
I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm. When you try to sell a product, okay, U.S. soybeans leaving New Orleans without the tariff to China are cheaper than Brazilian soybeans at the current market. But when you put the tariff on top of them, Brazilian beans are cheaper.
So how can this be fixed?
In the short term, they have no choice but to mail us a check. I don't know a farmer that likes the check program. Nobody wants to take taxpayer dollars, but nobody wants to go broke. Nobody wants to lose everything. Long term, we have to have options, markets, and places to sell our product.
Guarantee you they not getting no bailout. They showed us, didn't it?
So the people who say no handouts just lined up for a handout. Now tell me why farmers in Arkansas are standing outside with their hands out again, begging Uncle Sam for money. See, when it's regular people struggling, rent too high, groceries too ridiculous, can't afford health care, the answer is always from these people: stop complaining, stop asking for handouts, and pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Farmers in Arkansas are crying out to the feds for stimulus money like it's open mic night. And look, I get it, because times are hard everywhere. When you plant your crops, raise your cattle, take on the risks of farming, wasn't that a personal business decision? So why is it on me and you to make sure that that decision keeps paying out? Because see, when you and I make bad decisions, government doesn't cut us a check to make it right for us. Now, let's connect the dots here a little bit. These are the same people voting for the same politicians who say government is the problem. Yet as soon as the tractors stop running and their profits dry up, government magically turns into a solution for them. Ain't that funny and ironic? The question is, do we owe farmers any help? Or do they need to practice what they preach? Figure it out. Tighten that belt. Leave taxpayers out of it. Because last I checked, it's really not our problem to fix somebody else's gamble.
The farmers in Arkansas are now lining up to ask for a handout. They hate big government. They're the first ones to tell other people to stop complaining and pick yourself up by the bootstraps. They're the first ones to hate on socialism and big government. And they're the first ones to be asking for a handout and asking to be subsidized. Yeah, how about no? How about you lead by example, guys? Pull your ass up by the bootstraps. Have fun.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field.
This is what happens when a bunch of entitled, MAGA voting Americans stand on a box and push isolationist policy, like tariffs. You guys said that all the other countries will be affected by these tariffs, but we as Americans are untouchable. Let's isolate America. We don't need any other countries. Let's put America first. Well, the soybean farmers who overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump fucked around and found out that that just isn't the case for them. Most of their soybean crops are bought by China because America does not consume that many soybeans. They rely on China to buy the soybean crops. China earlier this year came out and said, ew, we don't want your soybean crops. You can sell them to someone else because we're going to go to Argentina to get ours. That's exactly what they did. And like you just heard the soybean farmer say, they have nothing on the books. They have nobody to buy their soybean crops, and they are SOL for it. I don't know, maybe you should have put America first and grown corn. You should have switched to corn, I guess. You chose to grow soybeans, which just quite simply, I guess, is not putting America first. You should have chosen potatoes. If you wanted to go full isolationist and vote for a man who wanted to isolate us and, throw away our relationships with foreign nations, that's what you chose. And now no one wants to buy your crops. Crops that you grew knowing that they needed to be exported, yet voted for Trump anyways. Classic. My name is Mercedes Chandler. I don't feel bad for you guys. Give me a follow or you won't see my face again. Thank you. Goodbye.
You guys have got to see this video. So farmers in Arkansas have gathered together and they're praying to God because Donald Trump is literally destroying their farms and there's nothing else they can do.
Farmers, in my opinion, dear Lord, and it's only my opinion, are closer to thee than anyone else on this earth because we deal with your earth every day. Dear Lord, we're hurting, dear Lord. We can't help what's happened to us.
It's so sad. These farmers are having their entire livelihoods destroyed by a billionaire who doesn't care about anything but making himself richer. Under the Trump administration, multiple different programs set up by Biden to help support small and regional farming have been froze or cut. For example, the USDA's Regional Food Business Centers program. It was meant to boost local supply chains through grants and support, and now it's been terminated. Farmers who were approved for this funding and expecting to get it still have not got their money. They've been left stranded. The Trump administration has cut over 600 USDA grants. These programs benefited farmers, sustainable agriculture, and food security. Organizations across rural America lost funding, forcing them to lay off staff and abandon projects. All of this funding has been cut while the big beautiful bill boosted crop insurance and subsidy payouts, of course benefiting larger industrial farms and hurting the small farms. Put all of that together and it's no wonder Arkansas farmers are praying. They've not just lost support, they've been set up to fail.
Wait a minute. So farmers are suing Trump because they want their stimulus checks back. Oh, no. Y'all voted for this, remember? Elections have consequences, baby. So here's the tea. Joe Biden and Congress put grants together to give money to farmers. Trump gets in and what does he do? Cuts contracts, snatches the money, and leaves the farmers high and dry. But now the same folks who cheered him on are like, we want our money. Now let's connect the dots real quick on something. For decades, farmers have been living on government handouts, billions in subsidies to keep their farms afloat. While some of those same farmers turn around and point their fingers at families on food stamps, and they have the nerve to call them welfare queens. Nah, let's call it what it is. The biggest welfare queens in American society are wearing overalls, not wigs and heels. And here's the irony. Farmers love to preach about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, guess what, farmers? Take your own advice. If you can't sustain your farm without taxpayer bailouts, maybe farming ain't your ministry, boo. Because my tax dollars and your tax dollars shouldn't be propping up businesses that can't sustain on their own. So no, farmers shouldn't get a dime. Elections have consequences and farmers are finally feeling it. What do you think? So should we keep footing the bill for people who keep vilifying other people who depend on assistance? Or is it finally time that farmers actually live by their own rules? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear if y'all truly are done funding America's real welfare queens.
Hey, Arkansas farmers, Arkansas, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You all voted to allow all of this to happen. You all raised against China. You all raised against the rest of the world. But you want China to buy your soybeans and your whatever the hell you produce. Yeah, the people that you despise, you want them to buy shit from you, right? That's not how the world works. And since you hate socialism, no money for you. Because socialism means taxpayers' money is shared. But you don't want that. So I suggest, Miss Arkansas farmer, that you pull yourself up by the bootstraps. That's what you wanted everybody else to do. And if you think the countries that you despise want to buy your produce and your hogs and your chicken and your soybeans, they're not buying American products because of your hate-filled MAGA agenda.
I want to talk about the jobs report. Y'all know the one I'm talking about. Listen, the U.S. economy is circling the drain. And it's not just a trickle. A farmer friend of mine said it's like flushing a toilet. And that's really true. From Tom Cotton's high horse in D.C., he has no idea what's happening in Arkansas. But I can tell you what's happening right here on the ground. I'm a small business owner. So is my husband. Our economy is retracting. The truth is, everything costs so much that there's no profit margin for small businesses. Business owners are looking to the future, and all they see is uncertainty. That gives them two options. Close down, like we did. Call it quits before it gets worse, before you have to risk everything. The second is to sit back on your heels and wait it out and not grow. You're not going to hire new staff. You're not going to invest in infrastructure. Why would you if you don't know what the future holds? This is what it feels like on the ground. But all Tom Cotton does is whine about anything other than the economy. Listen, y'all, we can't fence time. There's no going backwards. We need leaders who have vision for what the economy of Arkansas could look like. Someone who sees our potential and will create opportunities for us. I'm Allie Schaffner. I'm the 6th generation farmer running for the U.S. Senate here in Arkansas to unseat Tom Cotton.
So farmers in Arkansas, again, farmers around the United States are complaining that it's too expensive, that their farms are not going to survive, that their children and their children's children may not be able to take over the family business. Watch, and we'll talk about it.
5 or 30% of the farmers in this country, if they don't do something, it has to be done, and it's not just here, it's everywhere.
Farmers are making a cry for help before it's too late. Countless farmers gathered to speak to representatives of Arkansas leaders to share the urgency that something needs to be done about the current state of farming. Jake Tester was at the meeting and now joins us in the studio with more. Jake.
Many farmers spoke up at the meeting, and the message was straightforward. They need help, and they need it now.
Mr. Trump, he looked at me, sir, and he said, I love you. Mr. Trump, I need to see the fruit of your love.
Farmers in crisis, a line way out the door of the Woods Chapel Baptist Church in Brooklyn as hundreds of farmers from not only northeast Arkansas, but from across the state came to voice their concerns about the current state of farming. Representatives from U.S. Congressman Rick Crawford, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, and U.S. Senator John Boozman's offices were in attendance to hear those concerns. Among those farmers in attendance was a farmer in Woodruff County, Chris King. He told me this was his 39th harvest, and he has never seen it as bad as this.
And I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
For King, the main problem starts with the fact that they can't sell for profit.
I just would like to see somebody help us get our markets back. We need our exports, and we just need to be paid for what we do. And that's not happening. And we're in real trouble.
But that is not the only issue. King's wife, Melissa King, and farmer in Biggers, Arkansas, Scott Brown, said they are struggling to afford the cost that is needed just to take care of the farm.
The prices that we're getting now are prices like they were when we were children, and what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now. I mean, the price of a combine when we were kids was, in the 20,000s, and now it's 100,000.
I farm 800 acres by myself. I can't afford any help. I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. How's the guys farming 5 and 10,000 with 20 hands and $1 million combines and $1 million drills going to make it work?
But for Brown, there is something that rounds out all the issues that they are facing, the tariffs.
I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm. When you try to sell a product, okay, U.S. soybeans leaving New Orleans without the tariff to China are cheaper than Brazilian soybeans at the current market. But when you put the tariff on top of them, Brazilian beans are cheaper.
So how can this be fixed?
In the short term, they have no choice but to mail us a check. I don't know a farmer that likes the check program. Nobody wants to take taxpayer dollars, but nobody wants to go broke. Nobody wants to lose everything. Long term, we have to have options, markets, and places to sell our product.
So I wanted to stop there. Did you hear a Republican farmer in deep red Arkansas just tell you what a tariff does to American businesses, to American farms, to American livelihood? Now, I'm not saying, I'm independent, you guys won't believe us. You won't believe the Democrats, but we believe the people that voted the same way that you did and that still believe in the president that you believe in, but are disappointed in what he's doing. And again, they're willing to take a handout from the taxpayers, but they won't give handouts to those in need. Listen to that.
30% of Arkansas farmers that voted for Mr. Donald Trump, who overwhelmingly have voted for Mr. Donald Trump, they are said to be going bankrupt, because at the end of the day, this is something that is happening in real time, and I said it here. We all need to learn to be and stay with our words. Since you voted for Mr. Donald Trump, stay with the policies that you are voting for. There's a recent interview that I saw of this white MAGA woman who was being asked, why did you vote for Mr. Donald Trump? And then she answered that I voted for Mr. Donald Trump because of border control. Okay, border control is good for the United States, but does border control pay your bills? Does border control pay your electricity bill? Does border control pay for your groceries? Does border control understand that these tariffs are affecting the people of the United States? Farmers can't sell their soybeans to China because of the tariffs, and this is affecting them real big time. A lot of farmers are being sent home, being bankrupt. They are saying they have never seen something like this. This is the time of darkness to the Arkansas farmers. But didn't they get the memo? I guess they did, because everyone tried to warn them about the decisions that they are making. But at the end of the day, they didn't listen, because they thought that Mr. Donald Trump is still going to be doing what other leaders were trying to do to them. But they didn't know one thing about Mr. Donald Trump, which still stands out by all these other leaders, that this type of person, he practiced what is called a one-man circus. What he practices is a government for him and his oligarchs, and it's a one-man circus. Those people have put him in power to serve them, not to serve you as an individual. People, especially farmers, were affected so much by all these tariffs. Markets have also been affected by the tariffs, and somehow everyone is being affected. But when we ask you one question, until we reach this point, is it something that wasn't preventable? Of course, we know it was something that was preventable, but you didn't give it a chance, right? Because you still went ahead overwhelmingly, knowing that all this is not going to be serving you well. First, farmers, you affected. Trump's mass immigration policies creating immigration crisis in the United States. What did this have to your labor supply? This affected your labor supply negatively, right? You voted for border control. Now see, all the people that worked on your farm went away. Tariffs is affecting you. You can't sell your damn crops because China is looking for alternatives. But why? The person that effed you up is Mr. Donald Trump. Mr. Donald Trump doesn't even care more about you, doesn't even care about what is going on. What he's still doing is making sure that people are losing their jobs so that they can come help you work on the farms. Come help you work on the farm so that they can get paid 2 cents or $5, $3 per hour. And then you sell your time to them. And then the crops that you'll be getting will be sold super high because of the tariffs. And this thing is affecting majority of Americans. So, moral lesson out of all this video from what I'm understanding is that these people are learning that you need to understand that things can change drastically, and things can change. Things can change to the extent that you might regret the decisions that you made. And all these people that you're seeing that are coming out, that are right now holding meetings. Some are praying for God. Some are asking for handouts because it's going crazy and it's happening to them real time. And you need to understand the devastation that this comes from. Just not from listening. Not from listening to people that are trying to warn you that what you're trying to do is crazy and it's going to backfire on your face. You're going through bankruptcy right now. But why? Because you chose to. That's what you chose. You voted for fascism. You voted for bigotry. You voted for bankruptcy. You voted for all this craziness that is going on. This is what you guys endorsed. And that's a test of medicine of what you're getting. And so from my understanding is that you need to go back to your drawing table. Understand that you make mistakes. Use these as an experience. And as they say, experience is the best teacher. Probably, I don't know what teacher will come from heaven and teach these people that hate, that fascism, that bigotry doesn't pay. This is the time in American history that people are getting to learn that how racism is expensive. 2025 was a proof to every person that voted against their own will, people that voted against their healthcare, people that voted against their businesses. Because, tariffs doesn't just affect you as an individual, it affects everyone. It states the prices of goods and services because of these tariffs, right? This is what we called imported inflation and exported inflation, because this is what you're bringing to yourself. And right now you're suffering with the consequences and you have nothing to do about it. And so as a result, this is how it all affects you. And you need to understand this is how it affects you. So brothers and sisters, I really don't know what you feel about this. But honestly, I feel like this was a well-deserved lesson. Because if this hadn't happened to these people, they won't understand how to pay the price of racism, how to pay the price of greed, how to pay the price of understanding what is called empathy. Other people that warned you had been in your shoes, they had suffered in the hands of this person. Since you didn't, you thought that the script will still remain the same, but it didn't remain the same, right? A one-man circus government doesn't care about you, doesn't care about your farm, doesn't care about your soybeans. They all gonna be rotting on the store, you watching them rotting. The next thing you can't sell, the next thing you're bankrupt, the next thing you can't pay your house, the next thing you can't pay your Medicaid, the next thing you can't pay all these employees, and this is coming down to you as an individual because you decided to make the wrong decision, and that's how it's affecting you. So that's how you need to understand that every choice that you make has a consequence, and that's how it happened to you. You need to understand that. So brothers and sisters, please let me know what you feel about this video. As you know, I'm your host and presenter, Jintok Stories. But until then, let me see you in my next video. Just a simple request for those who are watching me for the first time, I'm asking you to please subscribe to the channel, join the membership, and really get to see what I can offer you. But until then, you know where to find me. I'm your host, Jintok Stories. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.